Hello. Shall we start? Oops. Hello, my name is Marina Lathouri and I direct the MA in History and Critical Thinking. As every year, I would like to welcome all the new students to the AA and the graduate school. And I think we'll have a little visual break here because I think we are the only program in the graduate school which is not based on design. We talk about design, we think about design, but we use primarily the text. So I'll ask you more to read the images rather than look at them. And I would try to explain very diagrammatically what we do during this year. The MA program is 12 months from September to September. And just to explain a bit the title of the program, it's not a history course. We are not doing history of architecture, history of theory, but we try to revisit and use history as a way to engage with design and architecture, and also as a means to comprehend the conditions within which we are now and in which we are being asked to operate, to act as designers, as critics, as historians, and as educators. I would summarize the aims of the course in these three sentences. As I said, we try to start from to stand on the present and look backward and understand the history of some of the issues and questions we are addressing and we are dealing with today. And our aim is actually to connect current debates, current theories, current ideas and practices with a broader historical, political and cultural context. And this in order to not to become historians or scholars. Some of our students, they go on for PhDs and stay within academia, but not all of them. So our aim is more to produce knowledge which relates back to design and contributes to the creation and production of our contemporary culture in architecture and design. And of course, we try to explore and investigate new forms of historical research, new forms of theoretical research, and to reflect on new technologies and techniques of design, and try to formulate a discourse which is relevant to current forms of architectural and urban practice. Our main tool is writing, is the written text. As I said, we are not designing, we are not producing any projects, but we write and we try to use and experiment with writing as a kind of project. Most of our students are architects, so we take that under consideration and we try to work with writing, on writing, and develop it as a tool, as a critical tool, but also as a skill during the year. And this is the reason that the students work with different forms of writing. They write longer essays, they write short pieces, short commentaries on very specific objects like a text, like a building, like a drawing, like exhibition. and they conduct interviews. So that's why I'm stating that write actually is for us a practice, and a critical practice of developing a way of thinking and way of engaging with design. And also I would like to go through the main coursework and how they are structured during the first 2 terms. In term 1, all the courses, the seminars, and the informal and more formal writing sessions and workshops, they are aiming at providing the students with a good knowledge and a clear sense of the history of the discipline, the history of the profession, primarily through the text and through the multiple interactions of the written text with visual practices and design. We also look at the act of writing of history, how we write history, how we relate to our past, and how we write this history as architects and addressing architects. We look at different interpretations and different uses of the past, and of course different practices of historiography. And the third broader issue which underlies all of the courses in term 1 is the issue of modernity, and we look at particular accounts of both architecture and urban modernity in the first term through a critical rereading of histories of modernism, and through the discussion of the field of aesthetics, of the modern field of aesthetics. So I have the names of the courses and the names of the tutors. Architecture, Knowledge and Writing, with myself, Tom Weaver, who is the editor of the AA files, and Mario Carpo, who is a professor, writer, currently based at Yale University, and from April will be directing the equivalent Masters in History and Theory at the Bartlett. Aesthetics and History with Mark Asins, who is today with us, and Narratives of Modernity with myself. The other thing which we'll do in the first term and kind of expand on that exploration of writing is a 1-week workshop on architecture books, which will run during the open week in early November. And with that, we want to address the very issue of the nature and the function of an architecture book. In a period we live of global intelligence, and where there's such a wealth of publications, either on print, in print or online, we want to pose the question of what is an architecture book, what kind of artifact, what are the means, the mechanism of its production, how it produces, communicates, and somehow determines our architecture culture, how it's been received, what are the mechanisms of its reception, and what we can learn from the very, I said, also materiality of the book as a project, as an artifact. And for this workshop, we'll be inviting critics, editors, publishers from outside the school to work with the students for the week. And the students will have the possibility to produce something and present it to the school on a Friday. And then we move on to the second term, which we see it more as a platform to dive into and explore and discuss more current issue, current debates, to look at more recent modes of architectural practice and modes of thinking the city. So in one way, if in the first term the broader issue was the issue of modernity, here is the question of the contemporary, how we can define it and how we can study, examine it from a historical, theoretical, a cross-disciplinary point of view. And of course, this is a term where the students are meant to be more exposed to a diversity of points of view, diversity of approaches, and somehow themselves become the critics. The main courses are Architecture and its Mediations with Douglas Spencer, who is also involved in landscape urbanism, The Post-Eurocentric City with John Palmesino, who also runs a diploma unit, the History Critical Thinking Debates on Architecture Politics, which is an open seminar, more public, addressing all the students of the graduate and undergraduate school. And we are hosting every week 2 external speakers to address the issue, the very broad issue of architecture politics from within their own work, and engage in a debate. Also with that, we want to promote somehow within the school another format, another venue of kind of relating with each other, the debate, the form of the debate. There is a 1-week workshop on critical fabrications, which examines the new technologies of design. A workshop, a 3-day workshop on architecture exhibitions, and also will end the second term with 1-day symposium on architecture books, which will follow on the event which we'll host in a first term. Now in the third term, we mainly work on the thesis, which is the main and most significant part of the students' work. And we have a seminar, which is a weekly seminar, in which the students can work collectively on shared issues and concerns. So the topic, the definition of the topic of a thesis, the definition of the main questions, the structuring of the thesis, also the establishment of a field of research, and the main argument are all being worked out within the seminar, and the aim is for the students to present work in progress every week and to engage with each other's work. And the unit trip actually in May, it's part of the thesis seminar. That means for a week we go elsewhere and we combine everyday, daily seminars, very intensive seminars on the thesis, on their research, with architectural visits. And at the end of the term, the students present the main body of their work to a kind of a public and formal presentation event where external critics are being invited. And the fourth term, it's mainly the term of the writing of the thesis. Now, just to, although I already mentioned some of these aspects of the course, I would like just to highlight the various ways in which the history critical thinking relates and works with the school and through the school. Every year we collaborate with particular design units in the diploma school, undergrad school, so students from different parts of the school can come together and sit around the table and discuss design issues together, and from different, of course, perspectives and with different background. The MA students, they participate throughout the year in design juries. I think that's something they have been enjoying, benefited from. Obviously, there are many joint events with the PhD group, and also we involve the MA students in the review of many of the IEA public events. And I have to say that many of the former MA students are already involved in the teaching of history and theory in the undergraduate school in the first 3 years. And just I would like to conclude with some of the topics, thesis topics, which we had over the last few years, just to more emphasize the diversity, although we work always in group and in a kind of a seminar setting collectively, but nevertheless we encourage the individual interest, and we try always to work with the interaction between the collective or the shared issues and the individual interest. And that these are from last year. I think that will be the conclusion or my last words for now. If there are any immediate questions, I can answer them now. Otherwise, I have the course guide for the history and critical thinking students, and if any of you would like to have more information on the course or actually have the guide, you can always ask me, or because we have some spare copies, or contact me by email. Thank you and welcome, and have a good year.